All right. Hey, how is everyone doing? My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws. This is our Wednesday night portrait class. We end up spending about a half an hour to 40 minutes drawing this a portrait every Wednesday night. I take you step by step through it. Sometimes I do it traditionally. Sometimes I do it using my iPad and the program Procreate. That's what I'm in tonight. I'm using Procreate, and we're going to draw this portrait step by step. And hopefully, by the time we're done, you will have learned a little something. So let's see how we end up doing tonight, okay? I am live, so if you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat, and I will be watching them. If you do throw a question or comment, hit that heart button a couple times so that I will see it out of the corner of my eye, and we'll get right into it. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first thing what I want to do is let's go ahead and jump right into starting with a sphere. Okay, this method that I use is kind of a hybrid of multiple methods. Okay, let's next we have our sphere here. Let's determine about where the center line is, and you can see she has a 3/4 view. So this center line, it's not directly center. It's going to be off just a little bit. So let's come over here, and when I say the center line, this is kind of that line that I am. Oop, what happened there? Let's see. Did I just erase my I did. Look at that. What happened? Let's see if I can come back here. Nope. Okay, we will start that. It's just a sphere. I could draw it again, right? Come up here. Okay. All right, there's my sphere. Look at that. It's not even exact. Okay, next thing we want to do is determine where that center line, there's the center line right there. You see that? So if I have my sphere, see, this is about where my sphere is right there. Let's put that in and draw this lightly. So we'll just kind of drop that center line in. And then look for the brow line. Brow line is going to go right through the brow. Let's change to red so you can see this. There's the brow line right there. Let's put that in. Just like that. Let's come down then and draw in the line right underneath her nose. Right underneath her nose. So I'm going to just come down here. Maybe it's just about like that. And then if I look closely now, if this is the bottom of her chin, and a lot of times this distance and this distance are equal. We're kind of ignoring the mouths right now. So let's come in here, take that distance, and then double it. We're going to be right about there maybe for her chin. Then let me erase this X here. Okay, now let's put this. A lot of times the mouth is like you could divide the section from underneath the nose to the chin into thirds. And so we could kind of like do that, I think, right here. And this is going to be like, there's her mouth opening, and kind of there is her top of her chin right there. Yeah, right about there. That's her eye line. That's her eye line. Let's put that in as well. We're getting all these measurements right away. So that's her eye line. Let me go ahead and erase that now. I'm just going to put that center line back in. Okay, let's go ahead and start building these. Look at this nose here. Look, this nose. Let's zoom in so I could draw it for you. It's kind of coming down. Look at that. That's the underside of her nose. You see that? It's like a parallelogram. Let's put that in as well. So I'm going to come over here and let's see. I'm going to straight up here. And then this one's going to be a little more angled like this. Look at that. Just something like that maybe. A lot of times the width of the eye is equal to the width of the nose. And I think we could do that in this case. Let me erase this nose here so you could see it. And let's come up here and we're just going to put a dot here and put a dot there. That's going to be the width of that eye. Let's come over here, put a dot here. Now this eye, because it's closer to us, it's going to be a little bit larger. So we can make it just slightly larger. All right, let's go ahead and start building this nose region. All right, so first thing is we're going to come up here from the brow line, and this is going to be our glabella. There's our, don't put that in, keep that nice and light. It's a woman's nose, so typically you really want to avoid a lot of the showing the bridge. You really want to avoid that. And then we have this almost like a V here. This is going to be the tip of her nose, right in here. And you could add a little bit of value underneath here like this. There's a nostril there, and then we'll have a side one over there. You see that? All I did on that was it kind of comes like this, right? And then the one on the other side is, since it's foreshortened, we don't give it the full nostril opening there. Now let's take a quick minute and look at her nostril of her nose on this side right here, compared to the way that I've drawn mine. You see? So really, I've got to erase this and actually think of this as a more of a cup. And the same thing is on the other side. And I don't want to make it, this bottom part is where I want to put most of my detail. And I want to put very little detail up here in the bridge. This will give her a much more attractive look. Whereas a man, you want to make sure your men are very angular. So we go in a much darker with the structure of the nose. Okay, look at this. Right at the inside of the nostrils, you get the septum, right? So let's come down here. And then we're going to start, remember this line here, that line is right here at the underneath side of her lip. So let's draw a little V here. Little V. In fact, you know what I'm going to do for you? I'm going to make my picture a little bit larger. And then let's put the corners of her mouth and be very mindful how wide the mouth is compared to the width of her nose. These are all, all we're really doing is looking at proportions here. And one of the tools I have for proportions is to make sure you check what things are lining up vertically. So for example, there's the corner of her mouth right there. And if that almost lines up right with her nose, you see that? And then the other side lines up just with the outside of her nose. So let's get the corners of our mouths in now. So I'm gonna come down here. There's this corner right about there. And then this one is gonna be just outside. It's gonna be right about there. All right, let's bring those, let's look at this, let's look at that lip and bring it up the way that we see it. And this is gonna curve around just a little bit like that. All right, then on the underside of the lip, you have this little, like a U shape, and then straight, and then straight. And let me show you where that is so you can see what I'm looking at. I'm going to zoom in here. Look, right here. You got this nice curve shape, and then boom, and then two straights. You see that? Let me show it to you one more time. We've got this nice curve shape, boom, and then boom. Pay attention that this side is shorter. This side is a little bit longer than this side over here, all because of foreshortening. All right, let's see now. So this should be a nice curve, and then straight up, straight up. And usually the corners have a little bit of shadow. And I'm just going to go ahead and darken this upper lip in with a little bit of value. Not a lot, just a little bit. Okay, look at that. That bottom lip is the distance from top to bottom is more than the lip on top. So we'll come in here like this, just like that. And once again, give me more lip on this side over here than on the inside, and we can add a little value to that. But even in the picture, make the top lip just a little bit darker than that bottom lip. We do that because the top lip comes in an angle, like a side view, top lip, bottom lip. And so when the light is coming down, the light's kind of really hitting the bottom lip. That's why the top is more in shadow. And then we're going to get this little bit of shadow underneath her, that bottom lip right there. I have got to run to get a Kleenex. I will be right back. Okay, let's get these eyes in now. Let's move up to the eyes. Remember, the eyes are about the same width as the nose, generally. So let's come up here and we'll get the top lip, the top eye first. Look, 1, 2, and then 3. Look at the shape on the other side. So we're going to come up, across, and then a very steep downward. Okay, look at that pupil there. That pupil is going to come all the way around like this. I'm going to go ahead and darken it in, leaving just a little bit of highlight at the top there, you see. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to shift it like this, kind of give it a flat bottom there. Leave a little square there for a highlight. And don't try and make this perfect. Just, it's more important that you just keep trying it week after week, because that's how it's going to grow. If you try and make it perfect, then you're going to get discouraged and want to quit on it altogether. Just try your best. Look, here goes. I'm going to darken in this upper eyelid, the upper line where the mascara is, of course. And then look closely of that. Look at that mascara and the eyelid. Look at that. It's really coming off to the edge there. You see that? How about the other side? Nice and thick. On the underneath of the lower eyelid, you have a little bit of a shadow. Do you see that? But you've got to keep, what's important is you keep a little bit of an edge between the pupil and the shadow. You see that? See what I just did there? Same thing on this side. Go ahead and come in here, add a little bit of shadow, but leave a little bit of an edge of light. And I like to add a little, I don't like to use exact white of the paper for the whites of the eyes. So I'm going to add just a little bit of gray there. But look, let me zoom in. You see how I left just a little hairline of light there? Same thing on the other side. All right, let's come over here and get this eyebrow in. Look carefully at that eyebrow, that distance there. It's gonna, I'm really kind of checking the negative space in between the eyelash and the eyebrow. And then the other side as well. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of value here, right over here, and then on the inside of the eye, there's always a lot of value on the inside there. Okay, let's bring down the side of her face. So the first thing is, this is the, look at the picture here. There's the little visor that's right above the eye. And then we're going to come right into the cheekbone here. And we're going to drop down into the cheek right about here. This is going to be about the, I'm really paying attention to the negative space in this area here. All right, there's about where my chin is. And I just kind of made a quick adjustment. All right, let's see where her side, I could kind of see her cheek right about in this area here. And then that jawline's going to come right about over there. Let's get this, look at this shadow by her eye over here from her hair. Just look at the shape. Let's just kind of get that shape down. All right. And then I'm just going to use small straight lines and start to draw the contour of her hair. A contour is the outline of her hair. So look at this. Look what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of getting the contour here. Make adjustments if you have to. Okay, let's get our neck in here. There's her sweater coming in. All right. Okay, let's come in down here and look at their hair now. And let's look at it in sections and pieces. So we've got one piece of hair, one grouping of hair right here. Look at this. It comes down like this. It folds over on itself. Something like that. And of course, this is going to have a little bit of tone here. And I'm just really kind of thinking of this in mass and volume. There's another little piece. There's a piece up here. Look at now, it kind of comes down like this. And then you got another piece right up here as well. And I'm just trying to think of this in groups, in grouping of hairs. All right, so you've got a piece here. Almost like you're sculpting this. Okay, you got a piece down here. All right, this side over here, look at this. You've got this piece over there. just breaking it down in parts. Now we start to add some tone to these pieces. So we've kind of got this going here. Haven't really put like strands of hair, just adding tone and value. Squint your eyes if you have to. Look, there's this bit of a shadow here. This piece here is casting a bit of a shadow. All I'm doing is right now just applying, not doing any strands of hair, just applying value. She's got some value on her cheek here. Value underneath here. And then she's got these deep shadows here. Once you get those, so you go, when it comes to drawing hair, I always try and draw the contour, the value, and then go in with a couple finer hairs to kind of describe the form, what's the texture, what's going on. See? And I'm mostly going to put these hair textures in the shadowed area. I really want to kind of avoid, hey, Mr. John, I want to avoid putting them in the highlights. All right. Okay, this backside is getting a little bit darker. It's going to make it look like her head is round. And I am going to even tone some of these white highlights in the back there with a little bit of value, because that will bring our attention to the bangs. And I think that's going to do it for tonight. That's just a quick overview. That brings us to about 35 minutes. And that's drawing a portrait step by step in Procreate, or you could have done it traditionally. Either or, the method works the same. All right, everyone. Hey, thanks for tuning in. My name's Kurt. I'm a dad who draws, and this is our Wednesday night portrait class where I always quickly draw a portrait. Even now, as I'm looking at it, I could see that I have made mine a little bit stretched. You see that happens? Even with me, I sometimes don't hit it dead nuts on. Let's see now. Where do I go south on this? Oh, I've got too much jaw, it looks like. Too much jaw, and probably the eyes should have been a little more closer to the bottom of the nose. But hey, that's okay. All right, with that being said, go out there, make your night great. We will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.